Groundbreaking is always exciting, especially when it's raining outside, but this one feels especially meaningful because it brings to life a partnership we first announced together on the global stage last year at the Paris Air Show. What started as a simple idea and a handshake over there is becoming real and lasting right here in Wichita that we're going to be celebrating today. This collaboration between Hexcel and NIAR represents exactly the kind of partnership that Wichita State values most. It's where industry and academia meet with a clear purpose, to work shoulder to shoulder on real challenges and real opportunities. In this case, that means figuring out new ways to manufacture advanced materials and pushing the boundaries of what's possible in aerospace structures and production. But it's also about something bigger. The president did not get to come here today, so he sends his regard. He's on travel, but at Wichita State, we talk a lot about applied learning. And for us, it's not just a slogan. It's a commitment to building a pipeline of talent by giving students meaningful, hands-on experiences. This partnership checks every one of those boxes. It puts our students in the room and in the lab with one of the world's leaders in composite materials. It gives them the chance to solve problems that matter, to contribute to innovations that will shape the future of flight, and to grow into a workforce our industry needs for the next decade and beyond. It sends a message that Wichita continues to be a place where aviation companies can innovate, collaborate, and thrive. Hexcel's investment here reflects confidence to our community, our university, and the incredible ecosystem we're all building together. So today, it's just not about turning some dirt. It's about moving ideas into action. It's about strengthening an industry that has defined this region for generations. It's about creating opportunities for research, for the students, for Wichita, and for the future of advanced manufacturing. I want to thank the team at Hexcel for their trust, their vision, and their willingness to partner with us in such a meaningful way. We're excited for what this facility will enable. We're more excited for what it will accomplish together in the years to come. And now, to share a bit more what this project means from Hexcel's perspective, I'm pleased to introduce someone who's a good friend, known him for decades now, has been a tremendous champion for this partnership, the president and CEO of Hexcel, Tom Gentile.
Well, thank you, John, and good morning, everybody. It's great to be back here in Wichita, the air capital of the world, and really to be here at NIAR, which is doing so much for the industry. And as John said, we've known each other a very long time, and I've had a chance to watch the development of NIAR from really one of the institutions in aerospace to even more important today in so many ways. And so we're really thrilled to have this partnership because it's about how do we take the aviation industry to the next level. We're really at an inflection point today in terms of technology. The flying public depends on aircraft to connect the world, to travel, to move goods and services, to move around the world and connect with each other. And the challenge is that we are constantly looking for ways to improve the production process. And one of the things that we do at Hexcel is we make lightweight materials. And the value of lightweight materials is it helps aircraft increase range and reduce fuel consumption. It also helps develop aerodynamic structures that reduce drag and therefore improve fuel consumption. And that's very important today. With fuel prices going up, lightweighting is more important than ever. But one of the big challenges that we have as we go to the next generation of aircraft and we think about this lightweighting is how do we produce these aircraft faster, at lower cost, and with less capital equipment. And these are the challenges that are really at the forefront of what we do. And NIAR has been instrumental in this area, especially Atlas Works, which is the building that we're in today. They're all about thinking about how do we advance the technology of the production system, and how do we make the manufacturing process faster and less expensive and with less capital equipment. And this Hexcel Application Center is really designed for that. We were able to provide some equipment to NIAR, which they'll be able to use for things like advanced fiber placement and also an autoclave, is to really pilot and test and demonstrate the latest techniques in fast rate manufacturing for composite materials. And that's very important because the next generation aircraft is likely to be a narrow body, and narrow bodies are very high rates of production. So in other words, across the street, Boeing is now building the fuselage at 42 aircraft a month. They're just about to go to 47. The wider bodies, like the 787 or the A350, build in the 10 to 12 aircraft a month range. So to get it for the next narrow body, we really have to improve the manufacturing process. And that's what NIAR is going to help do. Today, the narrow body is about 15% carbon fiber. The next generation will be substantially more carbon fiber. With the wing, it will take it to 30%. With the fuselage, it would go up to 50%. And so that would triple the amount of carbon fiber on the aircraft. But we couldn't do it with today's production techniques. And so what NIAR is doing is helping to position how do we do faster layup? How do we do dry layup and infusion? How do we move beyond an autoclave to out-of-autoclave solutions like heated tools and resin transfer molding? These are technologies that NIAR is at the forefront. And it's not just about the next narrow body. When we think about new types of aircraft, like the electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft made by Beta and Joby and Archer, these type of aircraft are also going to rely on lightweight materials because electric aircraft, the interesting thing about them is the takeoff weight is the same as the landing weight. And so light weighting is critical to get range on those, and NIAR will help do that. NIAR is also helping some of the advanced developments of areas like a blended wing body. Jet Zero is a company based out in Long Beach, California, and they're developing a very unique type of aircraft which can only be made out of carbon fiber composite. But because of the loads and stresses, it requires a very unique manufacturing process. And NIAR and Atlas are helping pioneer that. So it's all of these things that this Hexcel Application Center that we're going to break ground for today, all of these things that we will help work in partnership with NIAR to doing. And of course, light weighting in advanced materials is at the center of that, and there is no better expert in the world than NIAR. So we are thrilled at Hexcel to be a part of this. We're also thrilled today to have Senator Moran be part of this groundbreaking ceremony. I think all of you are very familiar with Senator Moran, but he is probably the #1 advocate in Washington and around the world for the aerospace industry. As chairman of the Senate caucus on aerospace and involved with NASA and all of the technology development, he is somebody who cares deeply about the aerospace industry, is very involved, of course, in Kansas and Wichita, the air capital of the world, and has been the leading advocate for NIAR. So, Senator Moran, we're really thrilled to have you here today. Thank you very much. And so it's now my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Waruna Seneviratne, who leads Atlas Works and has really been the pioneer of so many of these technologies which are going to take us to the next level and enable us to do fast rate production of carbon fiber composite parts and lightweighting the future. So thank you very much.
About 6 years ago, when we envisioned this new lab, Advanced Technologies Lab for Aerospace Systems, in short, Atlas, we have a vision. We wanted to create a maker space in the United States, whether you're a small business or a large corporation, to take an idea and make it a reality. And in a very short period of time, the industry, again, the small to large companies, embraced the idea, including our government partners, state, local, the government, as well as our the Air Force, Navy, Army, and all our DoD, NASA, and all these industry partners. And I want to thank Senator Moran again for making that a reality, believing in our vision from the get-go and supporting us. The Hexcel partnership that we are announcing today, or embarking on today, this new building, like many others, is a testament to our partnerships that we have built over the years, how our partners believe in on us, our vision. And just like John mentioned earlier about applied learning, the Sector B is a very important milestone for our journey. With the Hexcel donation, I know Tom didn't mention the number, it's approximately $10 million donation of two of the great equipment. One of them is what you see here is the mTORUS automated fiber placement machine, which you'll see on the bottom left in the image, and a 50-foot autoclave, doubling our autoclave capacity at NIAR Atlas. taking us from just a prototyping house into a production-relevant environment. Now think about what John mentioned to what this means to our students. As a student, you're not only learning how to prototype some advanced structure, you're actually live and breathe in an industry-relevant environment. So when you graduate and leave, our industry partners, all you have to do is show them where the coffee machine is and the restroom is. You can make them productive literally from day one. That's our goal from the get-go. And I also want to acknowledge Craig Neslin from the Air Force Research Lab also helped us to get another new technology to our portfolio, the rapid clave system, which is very, very instrumental for doing high-rate manufacturing, which also will go into this facility. And finally, I want to thank you all for being here on a rainy day and also being with us throughout this journey the last 6 years. And it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, who's also a great partner with our Greater Wichita Partnership, the CEO, President of Greater Wichita Partnership, Jeff Fleur.
Good morning, Jeff Fleur with the Greater Wichita Partnership, and we're just thrilled to be a part of today's announcement. As we look at these great partners between Hexcel and what's happening with NIAR, it is really a great milestone moment for our region and our state. Today's groundbreaking actually represents more than just a new building. It represents, again, a new dynamic partnership with the capabilities of NIAR expanding and also a long-term investment in our regional aerospace future. The Application Center strengthens Wichita's position as the air capital of the world and certainly reinforces what we know we do so well in this region and state. We have industry, research, government, and community leaders all working together to create opportunities that will certainly shape the future of aerospace. At this time, I want to take just a moment to thank Tom personally. Tom is a tremendous advocate for Wichita and the aerospace industry and has been so for decades through his career. As a former CEO of Spirit Aerosystems, a former executive board member of the Greater Wichita Partnership, and also a longtime friend to many of us in this room, Tom, you've just demonstrated a commitment to this community, to aerospace, to advance us. And so thank you, sir, for that vision and your leadership that you continue to give to us. We're also grateful for Hexcel's confidence in Wichita and excited about what this partnership will mean for years to come. As we look back, John mentioned it, this is an awesome opportunity that came out of the Paris Air Show, an incredible moment of putting Wichita and this region on the global stage. And there's no one person, he's already been introduced several times by each of us as a speaker, and that's Senator Moran. Senator Moran, thank you for your advocacy, your tireless effort to make sure we're positioned globally to be competitive well into the future. Please join me in welcoming Senator Jerry Moran.
After receiving accolades from 4 individuals, I should decline to have any remarks this morning. Nothing to be gained by my commentary, but I would suggest, first of all, that I too want to join in recognizing Tom Gentile and Hexcel and the relationship that is continuing with Tom and his former hometown and his former home state. We do not want to lose anybody from Kansas, but when we do, we want them to remember what we have to offer. We want them to promote and suggest to others that there's something in Kansas that's important. And Tom, not only do you do that, but your own company is demonstrating the value of a relationship that started with you in the Greater Wichita Partnership and with NIAR now decades ago. And so I'm very grateful for your continued leadership. Tom is a past president of the Aviation Aerospace Industries Association and is on its board. And he was nice to say I'm an advocate for aerospace industry, but Tom Gentile, not only does he remember his hometown and his roots, but he is the advocate for an industry that is so important to Kansas and put this on a higher plane, so important to the United States of America. Our country's economic well-being and our country's national security depends upon what happens here in companies like Hexcel and in research done at NIAR and the greater Wichita area industry that is so engaged in this effort to provide what our country needs now and in the future. And I am pleased to hear the opportunities at the air show. Thank you, Jeff, for highlighting the air show and John as well, the highlighting the air show. It was a thought of mine that when we have people that gather from around the world, there ought to be an opportunity for us to showcase Kansas in that setting. And this is another example where hands were shaken, deals were talked about, and this deal now comes to fruition. And we'll be at the air show in July. Many in this room will join us, and we will be again promoting Kansas and the Wichita area and trying to find those opportunities for another handshake and another deal to be done. And at each and every air show, we've been successful in having that occur. I'm pleased to be here because if I was in Washington, D.C., I couldn't find two people or two companies or two individuals that were cooperating or partnerships that were being made. And so it's nice to come home and see that there are still like normal things going on in the world when in Washington it seems to be the clash seems to be more important than the outcome. So again, thank you to Tom and to the Greater Wichita, Tom and Hexcel and the Greater Wichita Partnership and Jeff. And then let me not forget NIAR and the building that we stand in and the building that's going to be built. So much of what happens in Kansas happens because of the presence of NIAR. It is the selling feature, it's the draw in which we bring people to Kansas, and it's the place that they are amazed by what they see and recognize that there is value to them and their company, or them and their government agency, or them and the Department of Defense. It is this wow moment that occurs. As I tried to think, why is this different than something else we've done in Wichita? I think that I hadn't thought about this until this morning, but this part I remember. I remember coming to Wichita as a new United States Senator in a nervous fashion to have a meeting with the Chamber of Commerce types, the Greater Wichita Partnership, and telling them my concern that the title of Air Capital of the World could be at risk if we don't do things to maintain and keep it and move forward. And what I see today, and what I sat there and thought about, is what's happening here today is that issue is still true. Nothing is permanent in that designation. And we don't want it to become history. We want it to become the present and the future. And what's happening here is that we're realizing that we have to advance the technologies that we utilize in our businesses and the technologies that are developed and proven at NIAR as a research institution. And in the process of developing that technology, it creates employees, people who know how to use that technology. And so the air capital of the world's future is enhanced. Wichita remains, Kansas remains the air capital of the world as long as we don't rest on what we have today, but look for the opportunities to do the next thing that changes aviation and aerospace. And as long as it's happening in Kansas, and that is led by NIAR, and then by its students who go out into the workforce and put that technology to work, I feel very confident that we can say long years to come that we did our part to make sure that Wichita remains the air capital of the world, not just for bragging rights, but that's a good thing. I like that part. But because our country desperately needs the leadership that comes from what happens here in the state of Kansas, here in South Central Kansas. I'm honored to be here. I thank Hexcel for their donation and support of something back here in Kansas, and I thank Tom Gentile and Waruna for making it a circumstance in which there's something they find value in contributing to. Thank you very much. And Congressman Estes, who John Tomlin introduced as Senator Estes, which made me slightly nervous, he chairs. I chair the Aviation and Aerospace Caucus in the Senate. He chairs the Aviation and Aerospace Caucus in the House. And there's a great partnership here in making sure that good things happen in the 4th Congressional District. And I appreciate my relationship and want to have a shout out for Ron Estes. Thank you.